Sorry, I'm getting distracted by one of my guys over here dancing to my intro music. Our next guest is Susan Swift. She's well known as one of the Politichicks, and now she's written a children's book called Good Guys with Guns at Home. How's it going, Susan?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolute pleasure. So, what made you want to write this book?
Well, actually, something happened at my children's preschool. It kind of bugged me.
Okay.
It's a Christmas pageant, and parents can come and visit and participate with the kids, make things together. And one of the parents was a police officer, and he came at the end of his shift in uniform with his sidearm, and he was coming to the school.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood at the back because he didn't want to interrupt anything, so he stood there. And another mom, a liberal mom, started freaking out that there was a police officer with a gun. Everyone explained to him, he's one of the dads, his wife is here, his kid is here, everything's cool, don't worry, nothing wrong is happening. That didn't matter to this liberal mom. She was just convinced she did not want anyone with a gun at the school. Didn't matter that he was a police officer. Nothing mattered. A gun should not be at school. And so she kept it up until he felt uncomfortable. He said, look, I don't want to make this an issue. I'll go ahead and leave. So he left the pageant. And the woman didn't stop there, eventually contacted his captain, really said that he shouldn't be allowed to come on the campus to pick up his children if he was wearing uniform, etc. And so finally the family left the school. And the preschool teacher's upset. Everyone's upset. And I said, well, you know what? Let's have some fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start decorating the classroom with, like camo pink, and hang bullets. And let's have kids coloring AR-15s and different things. And let's change the library so that there's some little pro-gun books for little, preschoolers. And we Googled it, and there weren't any. And so I thought, all right, now
you found a market.
No, that's the idea.
I do have to ask. I really, at a certain point, I have to ask myself, when does fear end and stupidity begin? When, like, I don't understand. So we were talking about an individual. He was in uniform, correct?
Yes, he was in uniform with his sidearm. His police car with his K-9 unit was parked outside. There was no doubt. There was no confusion. And everyone informed people that it was fine. He was there as a parent, and he is an officer of the law. He's a duly licensed officer of the law. He's one of our employees to keep us safe.
Jesus.
I don't get this. I mean, given Columbine and all of these different things, what I want police officers high-fiving my kids in the hall.
Oh, wow.
I want them in my classroom. I want them. I would really love it. I know I live in the People's Republic of California. I would love it if our teachers had concealed carry, and part of being a teacher, they'd get a bonus if they would, qualify on the range, and so that they are the first defenders in case anything goes wrong in the classroom. That's what I want. But
I get that question.
I have a police officer at school, I'll never know.
I get that. Do you mind if I get on the soapbox real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So, and this serves as a catalyst for that. I talk to people all of the time about the idea of, you say that people say, well, we want to have a conversation between both sides, and you guys on the other side are incredibly hyperbolic about the way you approach guns. You don't ever give up any ground. And I try to explain to people all the time, there's a big difference between somebody who is ignorant about firearms and then somebody who just inherently hates firearms, but then uses soft language to push that agenda and make it seem like they're being reasonable. This is a prime example of somebody who inherently hates firearms. And then I guarantee you in public somewhere, she'd say something like, well, we just need common sense gun measures. We're not trying to ban guns. No, you're just trying to ban every single person that has them. And so it's
yes.
It's crazy to me. And it's hard sometimes because, we were very passionate people when it comes to our rights and wanting to exercise our rights in a responsible fashion. And when you have people in different organizations using such soft language to come across as if they're being reasonable, when in reality, their ultimate goal is to ban guns or get rid of guns altogether, getting people who are in the middle to understand that and to see that soft language for what it really is incredibly frustrating, because it's like they're kicking you under the table and you're reacting to it above the table, and they're like, what's wrong with you? And so, so that's my soapbox on that matter. I jump off now. I give the floor back to you.
And that is why I'm trying to do an end run around these, these snowflake liberals and these, these moms, because we have to go to the next generation.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who are, the little bitties, the children. I mean, you and I, we can all write, 150 pages about why the Second Amendment is important, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Little kids won't read it. And that is why I wrote this book, Good Guys with Guns at
Awesome.
Home. This is the first in the series because it's also about the second one in the series is Good Guys with Guns Abroad, which are honoring the military who protect our interests in, around the world. But the most important thing is that we introduce these friendly good guys and gals, these people in law enforcement. They'll give their lives for us.
Yeah.
They will. How many people can you count on your hand in your family that will lay down their lives for you? These guys will, and they're the good guys, and that's why it's important to introduce them. So this is a really simple children's book. It says things like, "This is a police officer. I protect where you live," so that they understand. Well, what is he doing? Here is my service revolver.
Yeah.
And then I have other characters in here, like a SWAT person who is he is much more specialized, and he has a big scary looking gun, but he is still protecting you in special needs. So these are all the good guys, so that they will see all different colors, creeds of who want to protect you. They use guns because the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. That's how it works.
You mentioned some of these, some of the parents who are excessively liberal and incredibly overly sensitive to the idea of firearms. I was speaking with a parent not too long ago who fit that stereotype, and she said something that honestly disgusted me. She was talking about, well, I don't think anybody should have guns, and if I found myself in a situation with my child and somebody were to attack us and try to kill us, I would just accept that as our fate. And,
okay.
And it took me it took me a second to keep my face as stoic as I possibly could. And I was like, you're embarrassing. You're an embarrassing person, and you're an embarrassing parent, quite frankly.
Yes, you won't protect your own child. You should have laughed out loud, pointed at her, and laughed out loud. I mean, how ridiculous is this?
I just don't. I'm baffled. I mean, every time I think I start to understand the other side of things a little bit more, I take like 9 steps back because they tell me something that just completely blows my mind.
They're brainwashing our kids as though guns are just like axes or knives or frying pans, for that matter. I can smack you on the side of the head hard, and I can knock you out and maybe even kill you with a frying pan.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that we're going to ban frying pans from all of them. Are women now going to not be able to threaten people with frying pans? This is so. Right. So it's about the character of the people using whatever the weapon is, and we need to be able to use every weapon that we can to protect our lives and the lives of our children and our country. And I don't see a problem with that at all. But again, we got to make an end run around these well-meaning, perhaps ignorant liberals who have just been fed this diatribe all their lives, and they see guns and bullets as the problem.
Yeah, there's no amount of coddling, or babying that's going to eliminate evil in this world. If anything, to a certain degree, I know some people who would argue that it would exacerbate it. But you're right. I do think I do think a lot of them are well intended, though ignorant.
Yes.
And so
they don't know any better.
Yeah.
We love them. Liberals just don't know any better. A lot of them, not the ideologues, but that go along what any right part would call just your regular everyday kind of liberal. They don't know any better, and that's why we have to educate, and we have to bring them along and hold their hand and tell them, it'll be okay, little snowflake. Just take this play down and hug. Get up, puppy. It's going to be okay. And then you can hold this gun, too. Guess what? It won't kill you and it won't go off unless you got a bullet in it and you got the safety off. Then maybe. And it still won't hurt you because you're going to be aiming at something. It'll be okay.
And you would have learned responsible gun ownership at that point, too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Now, really quickly, we got about a minute left. Where can people, I want you to plug the book. Where can people go and access and get this book?
It's on Amazon.com, and it's also available through my website, susanswift.net, susanswift.net. And what I really want is I want it to go on the NRA website so that people can go right to the NRA, buy it through the NRA, and I will donate a portion of every sale right to the NRA so we can protect the Second Amendment. Make that happen.
Absolutely.
That's what I'd like to
do my best. Well, thank you very much, Susan. It was an absolute pleasure. I thank you very much for putting together that book, and I think you're doing excellent work in terms of taking our next generation of kids and raising them in a way that I think we should.
Thank you so much. It's really been an honor being on NRA TV.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you.
Right. Now, when we come back from break, we're going to check out some guns from overseas and hear about this year's IWA, IWA, after this short break.